Rise and shine. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. I am your brother Joe, and we are the way. And I just wanted to say welcome. Thank you for joining me today. I am grateful that you're here sharing this space with me. And today we're going to be diving deep into another Bible study. I have two passages for you today. The first one being Matthew chapter 6, 22 through 23. And it's very similar as well in Luke chapter 11, verses 34 through 36. And just as a reminder, we're going to be getting a little bit deep into this Bible study, looking at the outer meaning and the inner meaning. We need both of them. They go hand in hand. So take this as you will, take whatever resonates. The word is living and active, and we could interpret it in many ways. So this is just me sharing what I'm called in the Holy Spirit. So we're going to go ahead and read Matthew 6, 22 through 23 out of the KJV. And it reads, "The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. But if thine eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness?" So in Luke's version, Luke chapter 11:34, KJV, it reads, "The light of the body is the eye. Therefore, when thy eye is single, thy whole body also is full of light. But when thine eye is evil, thy body is also full of darkness." So pretty much the same thing, right? But we know that these could be looked at in several different interpretations. And we look at what certain words mean. If you could define certain words, then you could see that exoteric is the outer teaching. Esoteric is the inner teachings. It's just definitions. They're just words. You could look them up on Webster's. But if I'm looking at these passages from the esoteric, the outer teachings, Jesus here is speaking about our focus, the purity of our intention, and having a clear spiritual vision, not being divided or double-minded. But when we look at this from an inner perspective, from knowledge, right, from a higher perspective, we could see that the single eye is often referred to as our spiritual perception. It's the eye of the heart. It's representing direct awareness of the Holy Spirit and God's light. So I'm going to read the passage one more time because it means a lot to me, and I hope it means a lot to you if you really start to think about this critically. The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. But if thine eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness? And for me, like this like turns me to like, oh, this is like a awakening passage, you know? How many people are still asleep? How many people are still left out in the darkness? And when you're asleep, you could imagine how great that darkness is when you're stuck in the void. So again, practical life application here, what Jesus is showing us. Jesus is saying the eye he's basically using the eye as a metaphor for perception, focus, and moral vision. The light of the body is the eye. The eye guides the whole body. Just as our physical eye brings in light, our inner spiritual vision guides our soul. If thy eye be single, if your focus, loyalty, and devotion are fixed on God alone, not divided between God and worldly desires, then your life will be filled with clarity, truth, and peace. But if thine eye be evil, if your vision is clouded by greed, envy, lust, or hypocrisy, the soul becomes darkened, confused, and misled. So the lesson that we take from this, the esoteric lesson that we take from this is a divided or corrupted focus leads to our spiritual blindness. A pure focus leads to walking in God's light, being in union with the Holy Spirit. You know, this also fits the context of Matthew 6. If you read the whole chapter, this is basically where Jesus is teaching against materialism, hypocrisy, and divided loyalties. You see this in verse 24 where it says you can't serve both God and mammon. But now we're going to take a look at the esoteric teaching, the inner teaching. Basically, Jesus, as we read this, he's pointing to our inner spiritual perception, not just the moral focus. Yes, both go hand in hand, but it's about awakening of our eyes of the soul, or our eye, because he says, if thine eye be single. If thy eye be single refers to the unified spiritual eye, often linked to the eye of the heart. In some Eastern religions, they call that the third eye. I'm not saying that Jesus is saying that here, but I'm just referring to other spiritual religions. But our inner awareness is of the Holy Spirit. When the soul's perception is purified and unified with then the Holy Spirit, that divine light of God is flooding into our entire being. It's full of light. Our body becomes a vessel of the Holy Spirit. It's where spirit and our matter harmonize, and where one perceives the hidden presence of God in all things. But if thine eye be evil, this represents duality, the fragmentation, and ignorance, being trapped in illusion, identifying only with the material world, and thus blocking out the divine radiance that would otherwise fill us. So the lesson that we take from this is to make the eye single. To make the eye single is to unify our inner perception. It's to silence our dualistic thoughts and to awaken to the Holy Spirit, to the divine spark within us, allowing the light of Christ to permeate our consciousness. So I wanted to read some other scriptures that kind of parallel what we're talking about here. And Psalms 119 verse 18 says, "Open thou mine eyes, that I may behold wondrous things out of thy law." 2 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 6 says, "For God hath shined in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Jesus Christ." The Gospel of Thomas, Legion 24, says, "There is a light within a person of light, and it shines on the whole world." We could also see that in certain symbolisms, the single eye is the inner knowing, is the gnosis that unifies heaven and earth, spirit and flesh, self and God through the Holy Spirit. So in summary, we could see here as we conclude this message, the outer meaning is to keep our focus pure and undivided toward God, avoid greed, hypocrisy, and double-mindedness. But the inner meaning is awaken the single eye of the soul, the heart's inner vision, so that the Holy Spirit can fill your whole being. And we need to understand both of these. They go hand in hand. So, family, thank you for watching this video. I hope that it's edified you in the wisdom and knowledge, and just God keeps on ushering in more understanding into who you're truly called to be. So may peace be upon you. Sending you so much love. God bless and take care.